Welcome to
The Neapolitan.
Scoop Podcast.
My name is Steph.
My name is Shay.
and my name is Rose. Thank you for tuning into the Neapolitan Scoop Podcast, where you get your weekly scoop. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe right now. Today's topic is college degrees versus trade school. Which one is better for post high school education? Often, schools place a larger importance on those 4 year colleges, entering applications, applying for financial aids and scholarships, but the same attention is not given for trade school. According to an article by Robert Farrington in Forbes.com, attending a 4 year public school during the 2001 and 2002 school year average cost for about $10,740 for in-state students. On the other hand, you can attend trade school for as little as $5,000 a year. Another benefit apart from the cost of attendance is that you can often learn a trade and enter a related profession in 18 to 24 months versus the 4 years or longer that it takes to earn a bachelor's degree. An example of how trade school works could be that, or how you can take advantage of it is a person attending a 2 year community college, then going to trade school for another 2 years, obtaining a vocational degree, then going out in the workforce as a registered nurse. And another thing I think is trade school can help, especially kids nowadays, kind of decide if that's something they want to do. Because you spend your money on a four year college, then you decide all of a sudden you don't want to be a nurse. Now you got to go back to school for another 4 years. I think trade school is perfect for maybe, kind of doing that and then deciding whether that's the profession you want to do. With that being said, we're gonna send it over to Shay for some questions.
Question number
All
one.
right, let's hop into these questions. So, first question, I guess, is a good way to start. So, talk about trade school and college. What route did you choose? And just a secondary backup to that is, have you benefited from your educational decision? Which I think we all in the same field, basically, of criminal justice.
Mhm.
Um,
Um,
go first.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. What route did I choose? So I chose the 2 year college route. So I went to a 2 year college to start off. I got my associate's degree, and then I transferred over to Sam Houston State. Why did I do that? It was several reasons. Reason number one was because I had just found out I was pregnant. And so I would soon, be having a baby. And kind of like Rose said, I knew I wanted to do something in criminal justice or law. I just didn't know what, because I initially started off with attorney, and then I was like, I don't want to deal with law school. And then I switched it over to forensics, and then I ended up applying for several positions just to get some type of experience and try to figure out where I wanted to go. So I figured if I got my basics at a 2 year college, by the time I got to Sam Houston, I would know exactly which route I wanted to take. And my mom kept encouraging me to do it. She was like, go to HCC, get your basics out the way. And because I was pregnant and it wasn't planned, it's kind of one of those situations where you're like, well, you can't really tell your mama no right now because you're already in a damn, hot seat. So your best bet is to just do what she wants you to do. So
Right.
I took that route, and I would say that, oh, or should I, was that the question?
Mhm.
Have you benefited? I think is the second
Oh,
half
have
of
I
it.
benefited? So definitely. Like, it's one of them situations where I'm glad I listened to my mama. Of course, it has its pros and its cons because I didn't really get to experience that real college life, like the Greek parties, I wasn't able to
Mhm.
be in a
It's okay.
sorority. Oh, trust me, I know, because I know I wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have survived a sorority. I'm not good at, like taking orders, especially when they're not asked nicely. And I'm not really the type of girl that likes to roam in the crowd. I kind of do my own thing. So if anything, if I would have applied, it would have been mostly for the stepping and the dancing
Yeah.
and the parties. Um And outside of that, the partying, the drinking, I did not miss out on that because I didn't do it on college in the college campus, but I did it in real life. So honestly, if I weigh the pros and the pros definitely outweighed the cons because I saved a ton of money. I didn't like the first, I think I ended up going to HCC for like 2.5 years or 3 years because I had the baby. So I had to go halftime for one semester. So when I tell you I was getting refunds, I didn't owe nobody no money when I left HCC.
Oh, wow.
I didn't start owing money till I got to Sam Houston. And now that I look at how much I owe, I'm just like, what if I would have went there for 4 years?
Yeah.
I would have been in the hole. Like what I am in debt right now is probably how much I make a year. Like if I took my
That's not bad.
check that I make a year and just applied it to my student loans will be paid off.
That's not
But
bad.
I'm like, if I would have stayed there for 4 years, that would have been double. My
Yeah.
current income I
Girl.
can't afford that back. Which I'm like, it
And they
defeats the
never gonna get it
purpose.
back. They never gonna get it back. I don't know why they
It
lend us
kind of
that money
defeats
knowing they
the
ain't gonna get
purpose
it back.
because we go to college to try to like better ourselves and make more money, but we go to college and end up, kind of like when you get a car and the car is depreciates as soon as you walk off the lot and now you're upside down on your, it's like that's kind of like what college going to a 4-year college does. It's like now you upside down. So I definitely saved a lot of money. If I would have continued on and not went to like a 4-year university, I probably would not be have any like student loans that I had to owe right now. But it is what it is. So
I
go
mean, it is
Bearcats.
like you said, it is good that you took the
But is it?
2 year. It is good that you took the 2 year route for a community college, though. Like you did save yourself some money on the front end, at least somehow. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they got
Yeah.
$69,000 out of me that they barely gonna get half of it back. So I don't know what.
So what did you do, Shay? What did you choose?
So for me, I took the 4 year college route. Went to Prairie View. I went and then I left and then I tried to do something different because initially when I went to Prairie View, I was a nursing major, but I wasn't really
Okay.
good at those science classes and stuff. Part of me wish I would have took the time to really focus and learn them because I feel like being a nurse probably would have benefited me a lot more than my current degree. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I left because I'm like, oh, this is too hard. So I left to do something so much smaller, which I tried to go to this school called Sanford Brown that is actually canceled now because of
It's
whatever
a
they were
technical school.
doing. Yeah, it was a
Mm-hmm.
technical school and I was going for medical assisting. But then part of while I was there, I kind of had a euphoric moment. And I'm like, why am I here? I can do way better than this, you know? I felt like I was just settling because I was really scared of trying to succeed at the university or whatever. So I actually ended up going back to Prairie View to finish my degree. However, I did change it to criminal justice because I found that that was more interesting to me than trying to go do science classes. Um, so I did get my bachelor's in criminal justice. However, to the question of do I feel like it has benefited me? I don't feel like it benefited me. Reason why I say that is simply just because like the amount of money it took for me to get my degree, like I feel like I paid for that degree. I paid for them to let me walk across that damn stage. Like I paid for them to give me my degree. It cost me, like we said in the beginning, like owing people $69,000 that they're never gonna get from me. And with that in mind, like you come out of college thinking that you're gonna get paid like at least I'm thinking, 65, like, but that's because I didn't really do my research at the time before trying to go to school and decide what I wanted to do. But you start off in this type of degree making like $40,000 a year, which is insane. I feel like that's really on the low end in comparison to a lot of other degrees that are out there. And then especially we mentioned about being, what we said earlier, being working as slaves for pay. We do a lot of work in that field, and it's like you have to fight people and argue people down and protest just for a couple of dollars of a raise. And I'm like, we're people that's on the front end working really hard, doing all the paperwork, doing all the talking, and you want to pay somebody $19 an hour. When I started, it was $19 an hour for the position we applied for in this criminal justice field. Now I think they're up to
Mm.
like 23, which is still a small hourly rate for the amount of work that they have to do. So, yeah, that's the route I went. Do I wish I could have went a different route? Absolutely. I think about all the alternatives I could have done a long time ago. Like, just if I would have thought more about what that would have been.
I agree. For me, I chose the dumb route. I said the dumb route because I, like Shay, chose technical school. I didn't do community college. I didn't do a public school. I chose a private school. And I got my associates and my bachelor's done in like a 3-year term, which to me is worth the money, but that's just what I told myself so that I don't feel bad for spending all that money. But I basically did a full-time associate and bachelor's, and I got my bachelor's degree in maybe a 2-3 year term, which is fast compared to a 4-year college. But the cost of that was twice. I basically now with my master's degree, I owe the same amount that I say about what I owe for my house, which is in the high hundreds. That's how much my student debt is. But like Shay said, they ain't gonna get it. They ain't gonna get it. That's
They'll get a
the
portion of it,
only
but they ain't gonna get
You're
all
never
of it.
gonna get it.
no look. The only reason I stay working in government in the public sector is because I want to get my loans forgiven. I'm halfway there. I keep telling myself 3 more years to get vested, 5 more to get these student loans forgiven. That's what keeps me pushing.
That's the
That's
motivation
what keeps me
behind
pushing.
it.
That is the motivation behind working in this sector. But is it beneficial? Is my bachelor's beneficial? Maybe not. I mean, I did a bachelor's in forensic science. I'm not practicing forensic science. Um, my master's not beneficial at all because I basically pay for a degree that I'm not using. I already had the job that I have now without having a master's degree. um, I wish I would have done something smarter where I would have done community college. Um, and maybe done that for maybe 2 years, got my associate that way, my bachelor's that way, and I would have saved a lot more money than private school. It's just I don't know. Nobody told me about schooling. Nobody showed me financial aid. Nobody walked me through that. So I think that's a lesson I had to learn myself. But now that I have my child that's like college age, I'm pushing her for like community college or a scholarship. If you don't get a scholarship, it's going to be community college. There's like, or a technical school, we're talking about technical schools. I think that's a great option for these kids that might not know exactly what they want to do or have different careers kind of in mind. Do something quick, 2-year degree, go out on the workforce and decide if that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I'll say this kind of to encourage that the education you get at a community college is the same that you would get at a 4-year university. You pay technically at a 4-year university, what you're paying for is the experience. Because I had great teachers and I learned a lot in community college. I definitely did. Like art, like now, like we're supposed to be going to Greece for our honeymoon, and I was looking at like excursions. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the little statue that I saw in my art class. I sound like a little slow kid though, because I'm like, that's the statue. Because I can't remember the statue name. I mean, of course I was listening, but I'm a visual person. So I can identify something that I see before I can identify a name. I always tell people I'm bad with names. Like I'll nickname you before I name you your actual name. But I'm gonna recognize you. I'm be like, I remember you from somewhere,
Not nickname.
Yeah. So when I looked at the statue, I was like, oh my God, like that's the little statues from art class. So the teachers actually taught it. Some people get feel like because it's a community college that the education is less. No, it's not. They actually have some of the best teachers there. Like they actually, you know how back in the days you used to have those teachers that actually cared?
Yeah.
Like that, those are the type of teachers that were in the community college. It was teachers that actually cared, not teachers that were just passing you. So I definitely encourage community college. It saves you money. You get the same education. F the experience. You can get that experience once you have your degree, you have your money in your pockets. go out here and the same partying you doing at the college is the same partying you can do afterwards. So yeah.
I also think that in our field, like in the CJ field, um, I mean, there can be money to be made, but it's not there when you start off. You know, I have a friend who is a teacher or something. I forgot what it's called, but she just got her teacher's degree. And for her, her starting salary is like $68,000 starting.
Mm.
And I'm like, we over here fighting battles every day. You talking about $14, I mean $19 an hour,
Mm.
20 something dollars an hour. But I feel like in our field, for us to make more money, we have to start low and then go high and like work your way to the top. Or if you don't want to stay in the same division or whatever, then like the second alternative is becoming a lawyer, going to law school right after you get your college degree. Because I feel like that's where you'll get like more money as well. Just more bang for your buck for your degree in a sense, because there's so many different sectors of law you can go into that can provide you a different salary that would help with what you pay to go to school for.
Right.
So that's just something I wanted to throw out there, because I'm trying to go to law school, because I was like, I sat there at my desk one day and I'm like, what do I want to do next? Like, I'm a training coordinator, but, for the county, but like, what else do I want to do? Do I want to be a supervisor just to get to a director position? Not really. I feel like I was passed up 2 times for a supervisor position, so maybe it wasn't for me. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. And so I feel like the only way to get to, even if it was a DM position, was to go through being a supervisor. And I just didn't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, maybe the next step is just to go to law school. That's the only way I can see like trying to progress within this field.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anything else I want to add before we move on?
No, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So let's see. So let's talk about, I guess just to stay kind of like on flow. What led you to your education decision? So we may have talked about it a little bit, maybe not, if y'all want to elaborate more on it. But I know for me, just growing up, my people just push college. Nobody really, like my mom, she was a cosmetologist. So I got like a lot of my hair skills and my abilities to do, those type of things like from her. But it was never something where she was like, oh, you should be a cosmetologist. Like you should get your license, or you should look into doing this or doing that. And at the time, back in the 90s, nobody knew about lash ticks. Nobody knew about eyebrow microblading. Nobody knew about laser hair, like all these different trades that have come, to the new generation. Nobody knew about that. So it's either, you're doing hair, or maybe you're a mechanic, or or you're going to school, but they really didn't push the narrative of trade school. They pushed more of the narrative of a 4-year college. So I felt like, and there was also this thought of, oh, you can be the first one in your family to go to school. Nobody else did that. So that was also a reason why I wanted to go to college, just to be that person for my family who was the first to do something,
For me, I think for me, it was a little bit of everything. I was always like a schoolgirl. Like I actually enjoyed school. I liked reading. That's actually how I lost half of my vision, is because I used to try to read at night when I was supposed to be asleep. So, so when I went to college, is because I wanted to go to college, but it was also because during that time, it was being pushed on us so much. It was like college was a thing to do. It's like it was almost like the American dream. Like if you go to college, you're gonna grow up, and when you're an adult, you're gonna be rich and you're gonna get a good job. If you don't go to college, you're gonna be working at McDonald's. Like that's what people kept pushing in our heads. So I'm like, shit, I'm trying to make money. So I went to college and I'm like, I already like to read. So I mean, it's not gonna hurt me to go to college. And also, because honestly, in my family, I was actually the first one on my mother's side of the family to graduate with the 4-year degree. So it wasn't like it was something that I saw growing up, like, oh, like I didn't see many of us going to college. but it was pushed on me for some reason. It was almost like my mom was like, if you don't go to college, then I'm disowning you.
Yeah.
You know? So I didn't want to be disowned, especially because I was about to have a baby of myself. So I was like, I don't need no more
Yeah.
disownership. So I took my behind to college. I enjoyed it. And I honestly stayed because I actually liked it. And then I went into criminal justice because I actually enjoyed it. I've always had a fascination with the way the human brain works, like why people do what they do.
Yeah.
And I felt like my mom wanted me to go to nursing. She was pushing nursing on me, and I'm like, Mom, that's not something that interests me. So me going to nursing, I'm gonna wake up every day and I want to go to work. Like I don't like doing I don't like seeing people in pain. I don't like seeing people die. I don't like none of that, you know. So I was like, it's not. I don't like shooting people up with in their veins. Like I don't even like needles like that. So that's not something that I desire. Yeah, they make good money. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but what is life making good money when you hate your job every day? So
That's true.
I took the route of least pay.
For what you
And
like to do.
for what I like to do, but I'm like, at least honestly, I like what I do. Um, like I could say that if I went to law school, like I would probably still do something criminal justice related, just because I'm still fascinated at the way the criminal mind works. Another reason I went into criminal justice is because I was a little criminal myself. I just
Not
did
how to
not like.
not how to get away with murder.
Oh
Yes,
Lord.
like I did not know I couldn't follow rules. I did not like the fact that I was limited to, things that like it was mostly traffic offenses. Like I'm like, why can't
Mhm.
my tent can't be 5%, stuff like that. It was just me being rebellious. So part of me
Yeah.
going into criminal justice was to learn how to beat the system. If you know the system, it was kind of like if you can't beat them, join them. It was kind of one of them situations. And I almost became a cop, but I would have probably got fired because I wasn't chasing nobody. So, but yeah.
She said I was in chase with nobody.
Mm-mm.
I think for me, I don't think I ever wanted to do anything that wasn't in the criminal justice field. Both my brother and my sister were, well, my brother is now doing something different, but both him and my sister were looking into the medical field. And I just knew that my brain wasn't meant to be in the medical field. I was like, I'm like Shay, I'm like, that science shit, that math shit, I can't do that. So I always knew, I think I've always, the one thing I've always thought about is an attorney. And I don't think it was because of money. I think for
Yeah.
me, it was always being a minority, knowing that there's not enough of us being represented out there, women. Now that I'm doing this, it's like, yeah, no, it's no longer. I no longer want to be any kind of defense attorney. That's not something I want to do now. But I think as I was growing up, it was just knowing that there wasn't enough people that looked our color, that spoke our language, that were representing people like us. Seeing that people were going to jail for small stuff that they shouldn't have been going to jail for.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what drove me to criminal justice. I think like both of you guys said, it was always growing up. It was always you have to go to college, you have to graduate, you have to do things to be better than what your parents were.
Yeah.
And it's just I think it's just we all kind of decided to go to school. My sister did her associate, and then she decided to do technical school, and now she's a medical assistant. My brother is slowly but surely working on his master's, a class at a time. Me and him laugh because he does like a class every year, but he's working on his. And
Whatever
then
it
for
takes.
me, yeah, and for me, it was just like it's the next thing. Like I like learning, I like education. I just I just thought it was the best thing. Like even now, we've talked about law school, and now it's like I've already started going through my stuff for law school, slowly but surely going in there for maybe a year or two from now, because I'm not trying to do everything like quickly. I'm like, give it a year, give it 2 years. By that time, I'm like the masters and all the shit I had to go through with my masters is out of my head, and then I'm ready to
Yeah.
go back to school. But um I don't know. I think it's just the way we grew up. Parents kind of, that was the next logical step, going to school. It was never like, you won't be doing anything else. For us, I don't even think like a business mind was kind of something that was given to us. Like being a business owner was never something that was like, oh, you can be a business owner. It was always you have to be a scholar, you have to be an educated person, because I think for my parents, education always equaled being a good person, which is, we know that's not necessarily true, but
You got people who got the highest educations that be trying to run their family off of cliffs.
yeah. But I think to my family, it was always like the people that were educated were always the people that were higher up in, in status and stuff. So of course your parents always want the best for you. Now it's like I read these articles and it's like us millennials, we are the most educated, less paid generation, because our parents grew us up thinking if you study, if you learn, if you go to school, you get paid better, and it's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So
Well, I say we got more sense than the generation after us, because they ain't got no sense.
But they are coddled, okay? That's the most coddled generation that has come out of
We got a little bit
generations.
more sense. Like we know we got a little bit of street smarts and we got a little bit of book smarts. I don't know what kind of smarts they have, but it definitely ain't street. And it definitely ain't common sense. I don't know if it's the phones or what it is, but them phones gonna always get them caught up. And I'll be like,
I'm blaming the phones. It's the phones.
how do you
you
not?
think so?
Yes, it's definitely
the
the phone.
internet. It's the internet.
Yes,
The internet got
it's like
people
they
thinking
do.
that they got.
They do everything for clout. Like they don't realize how their phones are technically like their worst enemy when it comes to break. Like if you break the law, your phone is your worst enemy. If you're gonna break the law, get rid of it. Don't take it with you. That's the snitch. You're taking the snitch with you because
That's
your phone
crazy.
gonna snitch on you.
But that's why
So,
we in CJ ain't got that degree, because we know what not to do.
hey, if you can't beat them, join them.
I know to leave my phone at home. What was you at home?
At home. So you what?
Funny.
What is it? T-Mobile? Who I got? Sprint? Here, pull my records. Ping my phone.
All right.
Oh,
That's funny. Okay.
very.
Somebody pull my records. My phone was pinging here at this cell phone tower.
I was not at the scene of the crime.
All right. Okay, so next question. If you could go back, would you have gone to college or have done a trade?
Trade all the way.
Trade, for sure, for me too.
Community college and trade, if I knew better.
I think I would have done both. I think I would have still wanted my
agree to that
4-year
too.
college, and I would have done a trade just because in this day and age, it's more gearing to like it's more entrepreneurs out there, and it's so easy to sell yourself now. You know, like
Yeah.
back in the days before we had phone, Instagram, social media, like it was hard to, we had to be, you know, like even with, like we had to do everything on paper. Like you had to promote yourself by putting your
Passing
cards
out
out, your business
flyers,
cards. Yeah. It's
using
like
the
now
green
it's,
sheet.
oh my God, not the green sheet. Oh yes. So like we had to get it out the mud. Like nowadays it's so easy. Like you post something and you just stay consistent with it. And before you know it, you making more money than somebody who did go
Right.
to 4-year
That's
college.
true.
So I would have definitely done both. And the only reason I would say that is because you gain something from going to a 4-year college. Like I just said, you know, like that common sense, the street smarts, like college teaches you something. It may not teach you what you need to know to make a lot of money, but I feel like it teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to be social, how to work as a team. Like, you know, like when those teachers used to say, this is a group project and y'all get 1 grade, and if one person fails, all of y'all fail. It teaches you integrity. It teaches you how people can be trifling. Like, cause you on that team, and that one person who didn't do nothing just got an A based off all your hard work. And it kind of teaches you to deal with life because you actually deal with those type of people in life. Those people who are gonna take credit for your work. And you just gotta learn like how not to set yourself up for failure. So that's why I would say I would do both. Because, yeah, maybe I wouldn't say a 4-year college is going to guarantee you big bucks, but you gain some type of morale from it, like,
Yeah.
and some type of street smarts, common sense, and a trade, of course, because, like I said, I mean, you can always start your own business, and it's so easy to start your own business these days. Competition is a lot higher, but I mean, if you bought your business, competition wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
That's true.
I just want to piggyback off of that too, because I thought about this earlier, and I'm like, because I'm so well-rounded and like there's so many things that I feel like interest me. I feel like I have so many skill sets, which makes it hard for me to really stick to something. And just after like I started so many businesses. Like I used to have a tax business, I used to have a marketing business. All this stuff is like under a LLC, under with the DBA. I had a boutique business. And what I thought about was like, why I didn't go get a business degree? Because if you think about it, like, yeah, it's easy to start a business. Ain't nothing but filling out paper and paying $300 for an LLC. But however, you need to know how to run that business and the ins and outs of that business. Like if you don't have a particular skill, like a particular understanding, like, yeah, you can start a business, but you're going to fail a lot more than you're going to succeed in the beginning versus if you had a more knowledgeable background of it. Like I know a girl who is a 6-figure boutique business owner. Not only that, she is in real estate, but she's in real estate mainly because of how much money she makes from her boutique. She's the reason why I started the boutique business. And I know she went to Prairie View. I believe she graduated. And now she has a boutique business. And I remember the very first time I saw her post a check. Granted, she's been in business for 10 years, but she started her clothing business when she was in college, which that's the smart thing to do. If you're going to start a business and stick something, start it as early as possible. And that's what she did. And so a couple of years ago, she posted a check. She ain't posted a check since, but the check I saw that she posted was a $50,000 check. And I don't know if I think that was a 1-month check. I don't think that was a year check. Because when you're in a business, you probably get your checks and your income from a month, like, based on how your business went in a month. And she posted that check, but ever since, she's a one-woman operating business. She don't have extra owners. She has like 1 or 2 people possibly working for her. So a lot of those profits she pocket herself. She done had multiple G-Wagons. She done got a Rolls Royce. Like the girl is killing it, and she African American. And she takes the money that she gets from her business and she invested into real estate where she builds duplexes and sells them. And I'm like, that's something I would love to do, but it just takes so much time. It takes so much knowledge. It just takes so much of everything. But it's like, if I could go back and actually like really sit down and like, what do you want to do? And like start it from like a younger time in my life, might be something I would like to do. Or even I think that's really just it. Or just really just figuring out what field of the degree I may want that could be more beneficial. I mean, yeah, it ain't about the money, but at the end of the day, these bills got to get paid. And to be over here dealing with something that ain't paying my bills is not making me happy. I'd rather do something that's gonna pay my bills and give me something on the back end, something I can really feel like I benefited from my time. My time has been worth it versus working for $65,000 a year or $70,000 a year and it's barely scratching the surface. So I would definitely, and then a trade is fine too, because like you said, this day and age, we got social media. You got people who are doing lashes, people who are doing eyebrows, people who are doing a lot of different things, clothing lines, whatever. And, they didn't have to go to college for that.
Right.
They use the power of social media and stuff to help them leverage and grow. And that's what we didn't have growing up. I feel like when Instagram first came out, I should have took advantage of it then. And I was on Instagram a lot, but the older I got, I'm just like, I don't feel like posting as much. Like, I don't feel like taking all these pictures and doing all this content and stuff. And that's our problem.
Yeah. It really is. I think it's just consistency.
Yeah, definitely consistency. I would say this, if you think about it, the people who created social media and all of this stuff is our generation. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the people who created social media had no idea it was going to blow up the way it blew up. And I'm pretty sure they didn't know that it was going to open up so many channels for the next generation to be able to become entrepreneurs. I'm pretty sure had we known that, we probably would have skipped all of this. We would have been like, You know what? Mama, let me stay
Baby.
at the house for a couple of more
Right.
years.
I'm about
You
look,
remember when,
I'm about to drop out of college, but I got a plan.
yeah, and you
Mhm.
know they hear that shit. They like a plan.
I'm
Well, what's your
gonna
plan? What's
I'm
your
still
It
be
better
plan?
on
be.
campus
It
passing
better
out
be a
flyers with
plan
my
to go work.
business.
And also like what was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought. But I was talking about social media and how technically our generation paved the way for the next generation. But that's the thing, like, yeah, this generation has that power to where they can promote themselves a lot easier, but they don't have the customer service to keep
Oh
their customers.
no, they don't.
And that's the type of stuff that you learn when you're in college. Is that part that what do you call those skills? People skills. That's what you
Mhm.
call them. They don't have the people skills because some of them, I'd be like, bro, you just text me 10 minutes before my appointment, somebody, you can't make it. What? No, you're supposed to
Owe me
text me
my
that
money
20.
or catch this fade.
Mm.
Yeah, so I had booked somebody to do my hair for my wedding, and I booked her and she sent me an invoice, and the was for like the total amount of the service. And I was like, I messaged her back and I was like, hey, I was like, typically I pay a deposit. I never pay a full service off unless
Yeah.
I've received a service. I said, typically I'll pay a deposit and then I'll pay the remaining balance at the time that the service is served. I'm like, I'm not stupid. Like, you could run off with my money and, so I was like, no. So then she messaged me back. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. That was my mistake. I wasn't paying attention. Cool. All right. I'll let you make it. Sends me the invoice for the deposit. So then I messaged her and I was like, so what time are you going to come to do my hair? Never got a response. I think she responded like maybe a day, 24 hours later, and was like, oh, I'm on the road. I'll get with you as soon as I get to my next destination. I guess her next destination was 36 to 48 hours away because
Oh no.
I didn't hear back from her. So finally, the day of the ceremony, she messages me the day before, the night before, and it's like, hey, I have someone's here to do before you. I'll be there at 12:30. How do you know I don't have shit else going on at 12:30? That's why I told you to send me the time ahead of time because it's other people
Yeah.
that I have to get with to fit you in. And I was just so frustrated with this person, but she does such a good job. Like, her work was so good that I didn't want to risk going with somebody else. I was just like, I'm gonna just have to deal with the customer service. Um, but it was horrible. Like, honestly, I wouldn't want to book this person again.
Mm.
True enough, her work speaks for itself, but your customer service is horrible. Like, it's horrible.
Yeah,
You don't like when somebody books you, you send them, okay, this is the time I'm gonna be there. This is this is this is this. These
Yeah.
are the expectations. I don't just give you a payment and then you just reach out to me the day of or the night before. Like, and that's why I said like this
Mhm.
generation just feels like, I don't know, it's just almost like, oh, I'm doing you a favor. No, we're doing
yeah,
each other a favor because you getting money
Yeah.
off of me and I'm getting a service off of you.
Yeah.
So, pick a side. And they don't realize, because I tell this to my son, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to start his own business. And I'm like, June, your customer service that's what's going to make you stand out from the rest.
it
That's what's going to make your
is.
customers keep coming.
Yeah,
Because you can have this A1 service and people will come back to you because of your A1 service, but they not gonna be like, okay, let me refer you to this person and this person, because honestly, I don't feel like referring this individual to anyone else because I'm like, your customer service is bad and it's a reflection on me. I'm like, I don't want to make anybody else that I care for go through what I just went through.
yeah.
So that's how you get your referrals. Hey, by the way, this person in customer service is A1. I trust them. That's how you build trust with your customers too. If you
Yeah,
don't text me 10 minutes before my appointment when I'm already on the way to tell me, oh, I'm canceling or we need to reschedule. Don't do that
that's
because
an
now I'm pissed.
inconvenience. Yeah, that's very
Yes.
Mhm.
Now I'm pissed. And I'm looking for somebody else to do my shit.
Right.
So we just need to get it together. I'm like, we need to pick a generation. Like we were at a loss, thinking we had to be in school and getting our education. And now the ones that know, oh, we don't need an education. We just gotta, have our own business. Everything, they don't know how to keep it.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah.
And like the
But
one thing that people should be taught is how to build business credit. So if you do want to go into having your own business, you need to understand your own credit for one, because it does, if you
Mhm.
brand new to getting business credit, they got to look at your personal credit first. So they need to be taught financial literacy, credit literacy, and then be taught about business credit. These are things that nobody taught me that I have to learn all on my own. Like, if the resources are out there, you have people who have the expertise that can also teach you about it as well. But there's nothing that you can't Google and figure out for yourself, or like YouTube and figure out for yourself. But you have to be able to manage your finances if you're trying to grow a business. If you want loans, capital, like you have to be able to understand how to get that stuff and how to manage that stuff. Otherwise, you're gonna be just as much in debt in your business life as you would be in your personal life.
Yep, that's true.
So, we all want to make money, but it's how you manage your money when you got it too.
Money management, because you can make a shitload of money, and if you don't know how to manage it, you ain't
You're
gonna
gonna be
have shit
just
to
as
show for
broke.
it.
You're gonna
Because
have a big check and it's gonna be gone.
and that happens in everyday life. Like you see people who have there's people out there that you have somebody that probably makes $50,000 a year, and then you have somebody that makes $80,000 a year. That person who makes $50,000 a year and can manage their money well probably has more money than a person who's making $80,000 a year and doesn't know how to manage their money.
Yeah,
So, like you said, Shay, it's all about money management. You can make six figures, but if you don't know how to manage your money, you're gonna be broke.
it don't matter. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's things that people wasn't taught. That's really where some educators or some educational systems really drop the ball. Like in high school, you're learning about all these different things, but nobody ever thought to throw a credit class in there. Nobody thought to throw a financial class, a tax class, like things that could
I
really
mean,
benefit you
what the
once
fuck do
you.
you use social studies for in real life?
Well,
Oh,
I'll say
Lord.
this. My school actually my school actually had it had a business class, and that's how I learned how to they taught us how to do our own taxes in
Mm,
12th grade, because we had a co-op program. So we worked like it was a half day school, half day work.
okay.
And they showed us how to do like our taxes. They showed us all of that. So I mean, we had a class like that. I guess maybe it was limited because I went to a magnet school. So maybe it was limited to who
Yeah.
they provided those classes to, which is sad because if you think about it, it's not that many magnet schools in the hood or in minority places. So it's like,
Mhm.
why, it's like you put it here where, I mean, you would think that the minorities need to know it too, because we want them to do better, but you put it in magnet schools where a lot of minorities don't get into just because
Mhm.
of their financial situation, their living situation. They used to put all the magnet schools in the outskirts,
Yeah.
and you had to be zoned to it. If you weren't zoned to it, you had to like test yourself into it. So that's another story for another day. I'm not gonna keep
Yeah.
But
going.
I will say
It
that
sure is.
we also had those type of schools in my neighborhood, which was like Northeast Houston, Homestead area, which was so like Barbara Jordan was a magnet school. That was a school that had the mechanics
And
programs, the cosmetology
cosmetology.
programs. Also the school I went to that was in the hood, granted Forest Brook, I don't think we had it, but when we merged with Smiley, Smiley had that co-op program, and Smiley was a hood school. They had the co-op program as well. I think I was actually in my 12th grade year, but I didn't do any like of the programs. I just went to go to work, basically. I left, did a half a
Mm.
day and went to work. But they had cosmetology, they had mechanics, they had uh HVAC. They had like a bunch of different things that they offered, which is a good thing. But unfortunately, they don't offer them anymore. Like I don't know what happened and why not, but they no longer
A lot
offer
of
them these
schools
days.
started offering that though now. So it's a lot more common for high schools to have like co-ops with like technicals and college credit classes.
Mm-hmm.
now than it was when we were in school. I think when we were in school, it was more like those magnet schools. Now it's like most high schools will have some kind of dual college course class or technical school class. Because nowadays, it's like anybody that I ask that has kids that are my daughter's age, which is like 17, 18, they'll be like, oh, yeah, they have that at my kid's school. So you just have to be able to apply for it. So it's like a
My old
job.
school
You
don't have it
apply
no
for it.
more,
Now,
according to
I'll
my
say this.
sister.
The program was like an elective. It wasn't like mandatory. It's like you
Right.
had to like
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe that could be another reason because I'm pretty sure there's people that went to my school that didn't take that class because they didn't elect it. A lot of people was like in ROTC, you
Yeah.
know. So if you went to ROTC, you probably didn't get that experience. So I wanted, like Shay said, I wanted to work. So I signed up for the business class because I wanted to work. But while
Yeah.
I was in it, you know, you had to attend class for a certain amount of hours and then go to work. So while I was there, they did teach us a lot. Like they taught us how to do a resume, a business plan,
Mm.
um, a lot of stuff that at that time I was like, what am I remember my business plan was like a car wash slash cosmetology.
At the
And I
car
was like, well,
wash.
people can do get their hair done while they getting their car washed. I still remember my business plan. That's
All
so
for a
funny.
flat fee of $100 a month.
And then I
That's
think
how
I
much
had like
we
a
pay.
restaurant in it. It was like an all-in-one. Like, hey, you can
But
get your
that's
hair
what
done, your car washed, and
the,
margaritas.
so there's a couple of restaurants now that are like there's car washes that have restaurants inside
See,
now. It's
they
a real
stole.
thing.
See, I should have got
It's a
that
real
shit.
thing.
What is it? What's the
And
trade word? Yeah,
Trademark. Yeah, it's a real
yeah.
thing.
Damn. I could
They
have been
wash
making.
your car, you go in and have a meal.
But you see, if I would have brought that to my mom at that time, she would have been like, girl, what you talking about? Like,
girl,
no,
you
you going to
crazy. Don't
school.
nobody want to go get no food and get their car washed. People gonna have hair in their food, they get their hair done, it's gonna be a food and food. Like what?
And that is exactly what my teacher said. She was like, well, you have to like think about like the safety and the health. And I'm like, well, it's
Oh
gonna be a
yeah.
while. Like you could have hair in your food without having the car wash. I'm not saying the
That's
restaurant gonna be
true.
in the car wash. It's gonna be separated by a wall,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But you know, they didn't see my vision. They didn't see my
It,
vision.
it's a true concept. Stuff. It's a true concept. It's happening now. I've been to one little location
See,
that's like
my
that.
teacher was praying on my downfall, man. She low key liked my idea. She just didn't want to admit it.
She probably stole it. It's probably her little car wash at a restaurant in
Let me
there.
find out.
When I was in college, that's the first time I actually got introduced to business class. I don't think I got introduced to business classes in high school, but like towards my senior year, I took like a business class and like I took an entrepreneurship class. So like you said, you had to come up with a business plan and you had
Mhm.
to talk about like how you was gonna present it to a bank and I got like an entrepreneurship certificate. We had to like create like little Rotary stuff and like sell it to a Rotary club. So I learned more about that when I was in college. And I think that's really what sparked my interest in business was because of those couple of classes, not even the whole 4 years of classes I took. It was like a couple classes. I'm like, oh, I could be an entrepreneur. I can be a business owner, you know? That's why I'm like, I got a CJ degree, but I also have a business on the side. And I'm, trying to figure that out and really want to go that route. I would rather work for myself than work for anybody else, but it's just so
Mm.
hard to work for yourself. So you got to
That's
keep your
funny
job
because
until you can.
it's funny because both of you say like you see yourselves being business owners. To me, that class in high school was the one thing where I found out I did not want to fucking own a business. I do not want to have to deal with fucking taxes. I do not want to have to deal with fucking employees. I do not want to have to deal with loans. I do not. Nope. So
I don't
it's
deal with
funny because,
taxes. I got a tax person.
well, you still got to know how much money you're putting in your business and how much you're making through the year and how much your losses are and all that. And then somebody said, and then you go through
That's
class
why I
learning that
had QuickBooks. QuickBooks handles all that for me.
your first few years you're losing money. So I'm like, well, fuck, would I want to start somewhere I'm losing money for my first few years? Nah. I was like, fuck that. Don't want to do that.
Yeah,
That's
it
not for me.
definitely
That's
takes
when I knew
about
that shit was
1
not
to
for
2
me.
years to get it off the top. I know all of the top boutique businesses that I keep up with, they all said like their first 2 years was like their grind years,
A
their
loss.
whole like promoting it. But
It's a
after
loss.
that, it's like a big old pay. So it's like in reality, it's kind of worth it. If you're gonna come out making
I
hundreds of
will.
thousands of dollars in like the 3 years, like the third year is gonna be your big year. Like it's kind of worth it. For us, we can work for 3 years and
You
still be
still have
making
to
sixty
you still have
thousand
to put a
dollars,
lot
bring
of
it home 50.
you still have to put a lot of marketing and everything behind your business. And I think that's where I was like, yeah, no. So like it's funny because I told my old employer, he has all these business ideas and he's always like, let's do this, let's do that. He got into apartment management while I was working with him. And I was like, shit, I'll go manage your apartments, I'll do this. And I was walking him through the whole process. I'm like, I'm more of a I'm more of a consultant. I'm not going to be a business owner. I'm more of a consultant. Tell me what you
Consulting
need.
is a
I'll show you.
business too, by the way. You can make that into your business.
Oh, I know. I know. I've done a little consulting on the side, but not where I have to claim taxes on it. So that's once
But
the spam is
nobody
involved,
wants to get
I
some
don't fuck
money and
with
be
it.
like, let me put half to the side for taxes.
Yeah, no, nobody. And that's one of the things where I was like, yeah, I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience to wait for 2 or 3 years for my business to turn up. I was like, I will help you run your business, but I will not start a business.
Well, I have definitely had a strong desire to start my own business because I just look at people that, when you work for someone, I'm like, true enough, it takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice. But I look at Beyonce and I'm just like, that could be me.
Your role model.
I'm like, Beyonce puts a lot of hard work into her work, and I'm pretty sure like her kids, her kids are gonna benefit from all of it. And I'm like,
Generational wealth.
generational wealth. That's what it is. I
And
think
that's
that's
all
really
we're trying to create is generational wealth. And unfortunately,
generational wealth.
you can't get that by working for somebody else, building up their business, making them look good, bringing them profits and revenue when they only pay you a small portion of really what they making. If you think about it in the CJ system, they make a lot of fucking money. And we only getting like 1% of that shit. And
And
we're
then
working so hard for
If
them when you can
even,
put that
if
same energy
even.
into yourself.
yes, because
That's
think
how
about
I
it.
see
True
it.
enough. True enough. Yeah, they're telling you, okay, you work X amount of years and we'll give you X amount of money, but you can't get that X amount of money till you retire.
And
And how
that's
many
like
people are going to
65,
make it?
67.
How many people are going to make
70
it till they
something, they want to
retire?
put up the retirement age to 70 something. And that's some shit.
70?
You
Oh,
know what's
hell no.
crazy? I got
I
my
was
little
thinking more
social
like 40.
I got my little social security statement the other day because you still get that. And that thing
Mhm.
said by the time you retire, and I think it said, I mean, it starts at like 62, but it said if you retire at 67, your social security benefits is gonna be 2,000 and some change a month. I said 2,000 and some change. What is that? Like you make
That
more than
ain't
that now by working. Like, but that's the hope that you get a retirement and then you can add that to your retirement. But if you were one of them people who got a low income job and you just penny pinching every day of your life until you get that age where you can retire, that's like the
that's
old
hoping you
generation of
don't die.
people. Yeah, and that's
That's
like the
hoping you
old
don't die and you
generation
get the money.
of people who just
And that's
work
what
the
I
bare
said.
minimum and then you get
It's
that age
like
now they depending on social security.
it's like how many people are actually going to make it to spend their social security? And if they do make it, how long are you going to live to actually enjoy it? It's
Hmm.
more years that you put into the system than what you get out of it.
Yeah. And
That's
And
that's
they
true.
why a
make
lot
it
of people
sound
work
real
for
pretty.
themselves because you can retire earlier trying to grind for yourself and work for yourself. And what, like we said, this day and age with social media, we have way more millionaires in this world now than we have ever had in a lifetime previously before. And that's because of social media. It's because of all the different avenues and routes that people have been able to take has made more millionaires in younger people than it has ever
Hmm.
made in older people in the past. Um, so if people are like, why would you wait till 65 to retire when you can do something for yourself now? I'm possible to retire by 40, try to retire by 50. I'm trying to retire as soon as fucking possible. So whatever that take.
I'm damn sure shooting for 40. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not close.
Mm,
I'm not close. But sometimes you can go from 0 to 100 real quick. So that's what I'm hoping for.
that's true.
I'm
That's gonna
like,
be
That's
our
hey,
true.
podcast. We're gonna go from 0 to
That's
100 in a
true.
minute. I'm waiting for it.
Look,
It's coming.
real quick.
It's coming.
But I'll say this,
we'll
like,
see this next year. We'll be like, we told ya.
Mm.
We told y'all. We told you 100,000 followers. We told y'all.
Like I look at my son, and today we went out to eat, and I was asking him, I was like, I said, so, how are your friends doing? Just making a little small talk.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what are y'all planning on doing next year? Y'all are gonna be seniors, like what are y'all planning on doing? And he's like, oh, some of my friends are going to college. I said, well, what college are they going to? Just saying all of that. So then I kind of snuck it in. I said, well, what do you plan on doing?
Mm.
And he was like, well, he's like, I'm gonna get me a job. I was like, a job? I said, why would you want to work for somebody else? Like, if you're gonna get a job, you might as well go to school. And he was like, nah, he was like, I want to, like I want to own my own business. I said, well, you don't call that a job, baby. A job is when you work for somebody else. I said, when you own your own business, you a boss.
You a boss,
I
you
said,
the owner.
yeah. I said, but that takes a lot of hard work. And I said, I'm not knocking it. And there was the little voice in my mind that clicked from when I was a kid, and it was like, oh, you have to go to school. Oh, you have to do this. Oh, you have to do that. That wanted me to say, like, no, you're going to go to college. No, you're going to do this. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, no, son, I said, I'm going to support you in whatever you want to do. And if that is being your own boss, I'm going to support you in that. And honestly, now that I think about it, I'm like, we come from two different generations that are very close to each other, So I'm like, I can benefit from what you know, and you can benefit from what I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, honestly, if I sponsor you and I actually support you and have your back, you could probably go very far, very far. And I'm just like, I'm not going to instill this college thing just because it's the American dream and it's the right thing to do. And oh, he has to go to college for what? Because I still owe student loans.
The American dream is not the American dream that it used to be. The American dream is go to college, get in debt, work for somebody for the rest of your life. That's no longer the dream.
But I think it's different for everybody. Because like I said, I see both of you wanting to be business owners. I don't aspire to be a business owner. That's not something I want to do. For me, it's just growing my career enough so that I can be good. I don't want to have the trouble of owning a business. I don't want to go through all that stress because it is stressful. I've had several bosses that are their own bosses, and I've seen how they struggle to pay people to get the funds. Because at the end of the day, some of my bosses would be like, "I'm not getting paid because I gotta pay y'all."
Mm-hmm.
That's at the end of the day, a lot of people don't see all the back work that goes behind being a boss, and I've seen that firsthand on different occasions, and that's not something I want to go to. I want to get paid. Being a boss, sometimes you have to understand you won't get paid.
And I'll say that it's not for everybody. And that's why I was, if he would have said to me, I want to go to college, I would have supported him. But I want him to do what he wants to do. Because I could send you to college, and if that's not where you want to be, you're not going to do your best. So I'm like, wherever your passion is, go there. Like Rose said, she's like, I know I'm not designed to be a business owner. I don't feel like dealing with the stress. I don't feel like dealing with this. So I'd rather just go to work, get paid, clock out, and have no liability, no nothing. No,
not get sued.
Right. She said not get sued. That's true. But yeah, because it is a lot of liability that comes with being a business owner.
And because somebody will just be happy to walk and slip and fall up in your establishment.
Girl.
And you looking at lawsuits.
I thought about it at Walmart a couple times.
Girl. That you thought about it.
Girl, because they had a whole setup. And I don't know if I told y'all about it, but once Thompson stole my grandma. And they had this little bootleg ghetto setup. It was a leak in the ceiling, right? They had a bucket sitting on top of the little case they put all the items on. It was at the very top, and the bucket was overflowing on the floor. There was no sign that said wet floor, and that floor was clearly wet. I said, Grandma, you see that? I said, that's
not you pushing your grandma to sleep.
No, I didn't. I was just like, I should go walk over there and fall. She said, girl, don't do that because I don't want to go to the hospital. I said, well, not you, me. I'm going to go fall. And she's like, well, I don't want to go to the hospital for you either.
Wait,
that would have been a good check.
Not your grandma's not saying, no, Shane, I don't want to do that because it's not the right thing to do. She said, I don't want to go to the hospital.
She probably thought that was a good thing to do, but I don't want to go to the hospital.
That's too funny.
I guess your grandma was a real G because she was like, I would do it, Shay, but I don't want to go to the hospital.
I'm like, that was a good setup. It was no sign. That was the perfect opportunity to go walk and slip and fall. And I thought about it, but I didn't do it because I didn't want to hurt myself.
That's
Hmm.
hilarious. That is hilarious.
That's crazy.
But
Oh man.
okay, so let's move on. So the next question I have, because I have some points for it. So what are, for the people that's asking, all right, so for the people that's asking, so what are the different types of trades and average pay ranges? So I did look up some things, if y'all don't mind me sharing them.
Hmm.
So just for some
Mm-mm.
stuff that you can possibly get a certificate in or go to, like, take a class or so. If you thought about, and this is for the ladies, so if you thought about possibly being in the skincare industry, the national average for them is about 75K a year. If you thought about possibly being a tattoo artist, they make their own pay depending on, the type of designs. They can start at 60K and but it can go up from there, obviously. They're self-paid. You can be a dermatologist. Dermatologists make about, from what I've looked up, it says about 253K a year. It may be a little lower, but from what I saw, the average said 253K.
But they're a
Um,
doctor, right?
Dermatologist?
Dermatologist.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
they're
Okay.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna move,
think
we're
they
gonna
are
move that.
doctors.
We're gonna move that to the other list.
yeah. I was like, girl, you need a whole degree for that.
Okay. So we got dental hygienists. So they go between 65 and 100K. So that's
Okay.
a
Hmm.
trade. And I also put on here microblading because that was something I was thinking about doing next, just because I was interested in it. So in the 75 percentile of earners, they started about 75K. And top earners can start at about 91K. But then again, with social media and stuff, I think that helps boost that a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
then for our guys, so obviously everybody's always talking about welding, welding, welding. So with welding, and this is based on California, I don't know about Texas, it's probably lower here. But in California, their average is about 90K up to like 100K, possibly more. And then we have our lovely CDL truck drivers. So we know they make some money depending on what they hauling. But they have about they make about $2,000 or so a week, which on average for a whole year could be about 105K a year. Give or take, possibly more. And then we have our carpenters, which makes about 47K to 83K. So I think those are some good averages, depending on where
They
you
got
start.
carpenters?
What is a carpenter?
Like,
Woodwork,
yeah,
woodwork.
like make benches and
They
stuff.
work the wood.
Oh, they probably down because I mean they have machines for that now.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
why I was like, we still have carpenters?
Yeah, but now it's like they're not actually hammer and nails and stuff. They're cutting the wood. They're building
There
cabinets.
you
They're
go.
building like all that woodwork. So they're working the
Oh.
wood. You thought I was playing when I said they're working the wood. They really are.
Working
So
that wood.
what do they call it now? Remodeling. That's what they call it. They do
Yeah,
remodel.
I guess you could say that, but they're actually remodeling sometimes just do the installation of. They're actually the ones building the shelves, building the door
Yeah.
frames and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Carpenters.
And then I even
Yeah,
thought about like real estate because I have like some money in a credit, not a credit account, but I had paid for some real estate classes a long time ago that I never
real
actually
estate is
followed through
the
on.
money.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think for those classes, even right now, I had paid for 5 classes at the time when I paid for them, which was $1,000. That's a
Hmm.
small amount in comparison to what I mean, granted, they do have realtor fees and things that they have to pay throughout the year.
Hmm.
However, I know someone who I follow on social media. She's a real estate agent and she's one of the top real estate agents. She's a young Black girl, probably like 30 something, under 35 for sure. And she has sold over $1 million in houses. So if that's the amount you sold, imagine her commission on over $1 million in houses.
Hmm.
And all she paid was $1,000 to get started to get her
Yeah.
license.
And then
And they're getting
imagine
20,
where her
30,000
tax
dollar
rate
checks.
is.
Mhm.
Hey, but it's enough for a nice lifestyle. That's why I want to hear judges complain about what they make and what they don't, whatever. Baby, you still get more than me after taxes.
But judges still judges still pay taxes. I think with real estate, it's like they don't really. You have to put your money on the side for your taxes.
But
Yeah,
So
that's
because
it's
you
just
can
anybody. I mean, if they're not taking it out, you still got to pay it one way or other.
it's crazy,
yeah.
yo.
But the only thing is with real estate, it's documented. Like if
Hmm.
you're doing lashes and somebody pay you cash, you don't necessarily gotta,
But a lot of them don't even
the
take
right thing to
cash.
do. Huh?
A lot of them don't want cash though. They actually want their money to be tracked. They want either Zelle or they
Veil
want
or
like a PayPal or something. But they track their money. A lot
Yeah,
of them
because
say
they
they
want
want
a
cash
refund at
accepted.
the end of the year because a lot of them probably have kids.
And
So
you're
they
gonna do
have to
tax
have something
write-offs
to
too for all your
document
business stuff.
and the
Yeah.
tax
Mhm.
write-offs. Yeah, so you can write off all of that. So anyway. So yeah, like if you want a tax return at the end of the year, you're gonna have to show something, you
Look,
know.
I'm looking at this list and it makes me want to go back to school and get me a little technical thing.
Girl, get
A
something.
little
That's why I'm like,
look.
something.
So it says cardiovascular technologist and technician, certificate or 2-year degree, 60,000 average annual need in May of 2020. This was during COVID. Can you imagine now that COVID is over? Plumber, 61,000. Radiation therapist, 94,300.
I had an uncle who was a radiologist. Well, he was a radiologist, but he made money.
Respiratory therapist, 2-year degree, and it's 65,000. Well, that's not cheap, but the 94,000. Look, let me go study some
Who was that
radiation.
for? Oh, radiation.
Radiation therapist.
I
Plumbers.
can't do anything in the medical field. It's just so depressing.
Look,
I actually
all
worked
you
in the
all you
medical
gotta
field
do is take
before,
a
and I
picture.
liked it.
All
True,
you
you
gotta
just
do
do
is
the
Yeah,
skin and
and you
bones. That's
be sitting
it.
there looking like you know how
put your bib
now
on.
you have to like
Are
now
you
we're in criminal
pregnant?
justice. We're in criminal justice, so like criminal justice already gave me anxiety, like because I have to hear
That's
all these
true.
stories. But then going into like the medical field is like, oh my God, like you reading people's reports and you're like, man, this person got 3 months to live. And they come in
True.
to see you and like every 3 months to get radiology, and you just like, damn. Like eventually I'm not gonna see you no more. I can't do
Yeah.
that. My heart ain't designed like that. Like
Look, just like in
I'll
criminal
do
justice,
lashes.
you
I'm gonna
learn
do
to pull
lashes.
yourself from there. I think just like in criminal justice, you learn how to you
Separated.
become immune to it.
Look, I'm gonna do lashes. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make you look real pretty.
Thanks. I used to work in a nursing home, and I think that definitely was the hardest part about the job was like you get attached to people because you see these same
Hmm.
people like every day, and then they get old. I mean, they're already old, but they just get older, and then like next thing you know, like they pass away, and that is hard, but it is a part of the job. However, I did like I think when I was in a nursing home, I started off as a resident assistant, which I would come to them, bathe them, things like that. But then I moved up
Yeah.
to a medication aid to where I was just passing out their medication. I didn't have to give them shots
Hmm.
and stuff. I just gave them medicine. So it's like it's a lot of stuff that you don't have to do in the medical field that involves shots and things
Yeah.
like that. But it can be a lot more simpler. But it's still the emotional part that is attached to it.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
Or even
true.
if you
And
thought about being a pediatrician, what if you come across a kid that's getting beat by their parent? Like that might hold some
Mm.
pull on your heartstrings too. But now you got to file that information with the cops and go through probably a CPS deal. And now you got to think about, dang, I'm going to get this kid taken from their family. You really want to do that, but you got to do it. It's your job. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I get
There's
it.
a lot.
I
I think
actually,
any job has its ups and its
yeah,
downs.
that's
So.
true. That's true. I agree. Like back up what Shay said. Like my mom, she's a nurse, and she's always been like in the medical. I told her she was encouraging me to be one, but she used to do home health, and like I used
Mm.
to like some of the times that she would go do some of her visits, she would take me with her. So I would like get to meet her patients. And of course, I was a little kid, so they were like, they're old people are so loving to little kids. So
Yeah.
I would literally like become attached to these people, and then like she would come back and be like, "Oh, such and such passed away," and it would hurt my little
Oh.
feelings because I'll be like, "I'm not gonna see them no more." But it was this one patient she had that I believe she had to do, I forgot what happened, but my mom had actually asked me to sit in for she asked me to sit in for her. She was like, sometimes patients like they'll need you randomly, like, oh, my nephew is going out
Mm.
of town and there's nobody gonna be here, so I need somebody to stay overnight, or blah blah. So I don't know why my mom couldn't stay, but like for 3 nights, I had stayed there consecutively. And
Wow.
the lady, she was so nice. And all I had to do was just go there and sleep with her and just make sure, check on her every 2, 3 hours, make sure like she was doing okay or whatever. Um, and she would always, when I would walk in, she'd be like, "Do you want some tea?" And she would make me some
Mm.
tea. And then she would watch I think it was like that obstacle course show that comes on where people do the little obstacle course and they fall into the water. It wasn't The Floor is
Oh,
Lava, but it was
I
something
was definitely
similar.
thinking floor is lava, but no, I get it.
It was
like
something
Wipeout?
similar.
Wipeout?
Yes,
Was it Wipeout?
Wipeout. That's what it was. It was Wipeout. She would always watch Wipeout. She was like, "Do you want to watch this?" She was like, "Or do you want to watch something else?" And I'm like, "This is fine. Like, I'm not about to sit.
Whatever
This
you
is
want to
fine.
watch.
Yeah, whatever you want." And like maybe like a month or two later, she passed away. And I literally cried. Like I said, when my mom told me, I sat there in the parking lot and I cried because even in those 3 days of sharing those moments, like I got attached. I get too attached to people way too quickly. That's why I don't like making friends. Like I ain't just super friendly off rip because I'm like, I'm not trying to make no more friends because if like we all gotta die one day, you know? And I ain't trying to get all in my feelings. So it was so sad. It was very sad. That's how I knew I'm not made. Bro, stop laughing at me. I'm not made for the medical field. At least in criminal justice, we see you, we say bye. We may see you again, we may not, but we don't really know what happened to you. But in the medical,
you can't get attached to them people anyway. You know,
you
that's part of
can't.
the job. So you're criminals.
You'll just be like, ain't that the same person that was here 2 weeks ago? You know, like that's all you'll say. But you'll never.
Or you hear that they got shot and they got killed, and you're like, oh, one less client. Let me close that case out.
Well, see, y'all see that on y'all see that. I've never like if I see you this one time and I see you again, I'm like, oh hey, welcome back. But I would never know what the end result is. Like I'm not gonna know when you die.
You become very
like
cynical. I think that's the best way I could say it because
I would say that, yeah.
Sometimes I caught myself being like, "What happened? Oh, they committed. You know, they ended their life. Okay, let me close that case.
Yeah, they unalive themselves. They unalive themselves.
Yeah, person unalive themselves. Let me contact the court and let them know so I can close the sucker out.
That's not even funny, but it's funny.
See, I would be sitting there like, oh my god, like, are you see? Oh, that is so sad.
You become very like numb
especially
to it
when you have like older people on your caseload. You'd be surprised how many people just die. Like heart attack, whatever. And it's like, oh, just another person that I got to get a death certificate for so I can close out the caseload.
It just, you become very...
That's why I couldn't do police officer. I couldn't do forensics because I'm like, I would have to pull up to the scene of the crime. And I'm like, I don't want to see a dead baby.
See, I think that would be hard for me. Yeah.
I've heard that those are the worst scenes that you pull
coming up to a motorcycle scene and the motorcyclist is all types of deformed and just because of how the accident was so bad. Like I don't want to see that
flat.
shit.
He went splat.
See, I wouldn't even, like, can you imagine pulling up to the scene and then you get in your car and all you hear is splat, splat, splat. And I'm like, this is not the song I want to hear right now. Like, I'll be traumatized. Like,
see, that's the thing I could do. So that's what I was trying to do, but they don't pay good enough for me to go see splat, splat, splat. So.
Rose, you got it. I see why. Look, you got it because I cannot.
The money's not good though. So
I'm like, I have a friend who's actually, he owns a funeral home. And it's crazy because it's like, you know, he didn't have to go to school for that. He got some certificate. He may have took some classes or something, but he basically makes his own money. And granted, like you said, working for yourself is very, you know, because sometimes he can have one body.
But people always die.
And sometimes, but it just all depends on who they use for their funeral home too. Because not everybody gonna always use you know.
The competition,
so he'll have a month where he'll have one body, he'll have a month where he'll have five, and like all those funeral policies, they range depending on, you might have a client that has a $5,000 policy, somebody who want to spend $24,000. Like you really just never know. But for him, he see all kind of stuff. He's responsible for stitching them people up and making them look how they did beforehand. And he just have to. I couldn't do that.
But I think with them, like morticians have to learn it from somebody else. They kind of learned that trade from somebody else. Like you said, they have to stitch them, and then they have to like do the clay so that their like face looks appropriate, and they have to do the makeup, and that's an art. To me, being a mortician is an art. Like there's a lot of work behind that.
You got to make it look like nothing ever happened.
Now I think I would do that. Like I would do that part. I'll do the makeup part. I wouldn't mind doing that because I feel like I'm doing a service. Like I'm like, I have to
backwards.
No, because in my mind, I'm like, God, I already took the guts out. The person already did. It's like kind of going to go see the person at the funeral home, but at
They do
least you
have
made
some
them
people that
feel
only
pretty.
specialize in like doing makeup. Yeah.
Like that's all. I don't want to do all that. Like just I'll make them look real pretty for the occasion, and I feel like I've done my part to society. Like I made the family feel real good. I don't want to be the one to break the news to the family.
What if there's a little extra gas and the body goes boop?
Never mind.
And you
I don't want to do that
goddamn-
either. Final.
All right, last question. All right, well, yeah. So, what is the average starting pay range for certain degrees? So, I did look up a couple other ones. I'm gonna start with ours first. So, for criminal justice, the starting range is about 41,000 up until probably 93, but we know that can go way beyond that based on what certain people get paid. And what their positions are. So we know it can actually be way higher than that. If you want to, and so obviously, people, this is based on if you go to school and if you actually get a degree, and depending on what that degree is from your four-year university. So we have surgeons. If you want to go and be a surgeon, you can make up to about $298,000 a year. If you want to go do some surgeries. Lawyers. I know for district attorneys, assistant district attorney, from what I heard, especially with the county, I know they recently raised their pay, so I know this says about 75, but I think they start off at like 80 something for the new incoming district attorneys, assistant district attorneys. And then obviously if you're working in a private law firm or if you work for yourself, you can make up to or probably over $500,000 a year as an attorney. We got nurse practitioners who make about 117K to 125K. Nurse
Anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist.
It's not anesthesia. It's no chip in this. It's ANESTHETIST.
Anesthesiast.
Okay, there we go. They make about 175K to about 227K. RNs.
It looks like the money's in the medical field. Money's in the medical field.
It is. We got RNs that make about 89, and it didn't give me a higher average, but I'm sure they can make more than 89. Midwives make about 122K.
What?
And then
wait a minute. We gotta deliver some babies.
Deliver some babies. That's on the private side.
I done had plenty of them to be able to deliver them.
What are they called? The doulas? Is that what they're called? The doulas, like the ladies that do the breathe and then push the baby out in the water. And
a bunch of babies being born every year, every day.
Get us a little pool.
And then just to be on a little different, a different degree path, I put CPAs. So CPAs are obviously tax professionals. They can make about 88K to about 180K, and probably more depending on social media. I know a girl right now, she has an accounting degree, and because of social media, she basically markets herself to teach people how to do taxes. She also does taxes. So I know she made well over 180K. Yeah. Well over 180K.
And then they have their own business as well. Like if they have businesses that they do it quarterly, yearly, they can make a lot more money. Yeah. I can see that.
So
but you gotta deal with numbers.
It definitely depends. I mean, the degree can be worth it depending on what field you go into. I mean, obviously, out of all these, I put on here, criminal justice is probably one of the lowest paying ones, unfortunately. But like I said, that's why you got to go and pursue a further degree, probably going to the attorney route to get more money, more bang for your buck when it comes to your particular degree.
Yeah.
In that, yeah.
Definitely. Those are some good paying jobs.
These are, especially like nurses. I mean, they're not the doctors. They do a lot more than the doctors, to be honest.
They really do.
Doctors get paid a lot more, but nurses do all the damn work, to be honest. The doctor come in at the very last moment and say, all right, well, we're going to get you discharged. How do you feel? Any questions? See you later.
And sometimes they say it's because of the schooling, because the doctor does a lot more schooling. But in reality, there are some nurses that do a lot more schooling than doctors. They really do, because some of them have to be like, if there's something specialty, like if they're doing cardiology, they have to do their nursing and then they have to specialize in cardiology. If they're doing different things, they sometimes they do a lot more schooling than doctors, and it's like you're not getting paid as much as a doctor. It's just the title that gets you paid.
Yep,
that's true. Dentist on here, but let me see how much a dentist makes. Dentist.
I'm not trying to be in nobody mouth.
salary. But somebody might be trying to be. You might not trying to be. So for a dentist, they can range from the lowest I see is 150K up to 410K a year. They probably got multiple practices, multiple locations, got their name on each building,
How
travel
much?
between. So on Indeed it says about 150K to the highest I see is 410K a year to be in somebody's mouth.
That's crazy.
I just be like, I can't deal with bad breath like when it's in front of me. Like,
Look, I said, what is the highest paid physician? Neurosurgeons are paid
Oh, yeah.
788,000 a year.
Just to go up in
700?
there, just to go in there and
788.
possibly fuck up your damn brain.
Just to open up your
But
brain and do a little.
I'll say
little-
this, that is a very risky job.
It is.
So I can see why, like, the brain is the last thing to go. Actually, it is the last thing to go. So it's
Oral
like
surgeons, 556,000
Oral surgeons?
oral mouth.
So the people that
I'll
take
do
out
that.
your
People that
damn
take your
teeth and
teeth
the
out.
people that put
The
them
ones
in,
that-
possibly.
I'll do
The
that.
people that take out your root canals and they do the wisdom teeth.
I don't mind.
Radiology,
I'll take your teeth out.
500,003.
Okay.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, that neuro, because I watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy, and baby, when they was going up in there doing them people brains, it's like you do one thing wrong, and it's just like that person come
Yeah.
out not even walking no
over.
more.
That's
It's
Like,
over.
It's
That's
so
a very
many
stressful
nerves.
job. It's very
so many
stressful.
nerves in your brain. Yeah, and it's like
That's
if you
crazy.
have the slightest little shake in your hand, you can't do it. Don't do
That's
it.
true because
So
my brother wanted to do that and he couldn't because first of all he's blind and second of all he's got bad
Not you
He could-
wanted to be a
Come on.
neurosurgeon.
he's blind in the back.
So you
Come on,
got, you got
sir.
2 things working up against you. You're blind and you got a shake in your hand.
I don't mean to laugh at your brother, but sir,
Look,
I'm gonna need you to have your eyesight like 2020.
he got surgery. He got a laser surgery.
Mm.
Can you imagine? Oh shit, I
They
lost a
got
contact.
them goggle glasses and shit.
Gotta go in there looking for my
I gotta close one eye. Let me see.
Don't drop your
girl,
contact
your
in
lash.
somebody's
I lost
brain.
my lash to the patient. I lost my lash.
Can you imagine somebody gets to we did a CAT scan and we found a contact in this person.
Bitch,
Somebody gets to the
I would sew the pants off of you.
oh my goodness.
Actually, a contact would probably just not even show up in any kind of images.
Because it's
you know?
clear.
An eyelash might.
Yeah.
We think
Now,
it's
if
a
it's a
cancer.
colored contact, if
we
it's a
think it's a
colored contact,
cancer.
it might show up and be like,
have
it's
little
a,
lines and shit.
You have some type of cancer that we've never seen before. Oh no, that's just my lash. That's still in
not
there.
this person taking radiology and shit, going through chemo, and it's a damn contact.
And Stephanie, the lash tech, didn't put my lash on there right.
Talk about that's a horrible lawsuit.
Now I'm getting
through chemo.
sued.
You got me going through chemo, and I don't even
Can
have
you
cancer.
imagine that?
I don't even have
you
cancer. It's a
imagine?
whole fucking contact. You got me going through chemo. I done lost my hair. I'm throwing up every day. Bitch, I'm about to own a hospital.
But you know, people have gone through like stuff like that for little small shit that people misdiagnose. Doctors make misdiagnose.
That's called
Lord.
malpractice lawsuit.
But
Now
that's another topic for another day.
the neurosurgeon. You suing a neurosurgeon. You suing
You
the
know what?
hospital.
Maybe I should
You
be a
suing-
malpractice lawyer.
You suing the lash tech because the lash tech didn't put the lashes on correctly.
You gotta sue
Everybody
everybody
sued.
involved. You gotta sue the person,
Everybody gets-
the
The glue
lash.
manufacturer because they didn't make strong enough glue for the
That's
lashes.
so
to
man.
wear.
That's a big check. That's a lot of people to sue. That's a lot of
Malpractice.
people.
But in
You
all
gotta go for
honesty,
I'm sure it
everybody.
just takes forever.
when it
to
comes
make
to
malpractice.
law, that is like the biggest, well, one of the biggest moneymakers is like medical malpractice, personal injury. But like Rose said, it takes a while. Like you're not getting your check.
Oh,
It
because they
takes
gonna
a
fight
while.
that shit. They gonna fight
Because
it.
you got to get medical records, you got to get like experts, you got to get all kind of stuff to prove a lot of stuff. So you wouldn't
For
get
those
paid.
you already
like,
know they're appealing. So you know
you'll
you
be
gotta
getting
go
paid
through at least 2
2 or
appeals.
3 years later. You'll be getting paid, but that check gonna be fat.
It's gonna be
Mhm.
fat.
Fat.
That's why I want to go into civil not civil. I wouldn't go into contracts because that takes a lot less time. You get your little money for little reviewing
But
contracts.
that's why you need the little smaller checks, like the criminals. You know, the criminal checks is gonna hold it down to them big fat checks come in.
I don't know.
It's like, okay, well, I
I'm gonna
still
be
gotta pay my
miserable.
mortgage,
I'm
but
gonna
I
be
can't
miserable in
wait.
the ADA's office. Like, gotta be this bitch. Guilty. Give him 10 years. I don't care.
He did it, Your Honor.
He did it. I talked
He
to my
did it. I know
clients.
he did it. I'm not even gonna fight you on it. He did it.
What's the maximum amount of time?
What we gonna give him? What you gonna cut me?
As a matter of fact, about that lunchtime, Your Honor. Let's go to lunch. Let's talk about this during lunchtime.
Come on, man. How much is gonna cost me? With Fleming's? With Vic and Anthony's. All right, cool.
Vic and Anthony's. Let's go settle this at Vic and Anthony's.
I was gonna say it's a lot of attorneys who do criminal and they also do like personal injury, like on the side of like different types of law. So that's very interesting. Like, yeah, okay, I'm waiting on this. I'm waiting on this personal injury trick. That's probably gonna be 20 grand for me. But while I'm doing that, I'm about to get this little 10K, 5K from these damn defendants and make my money that way.
Right.
That's true.
I don't know. I just don't think I can do it. I'll be prosecuting people.
Yeah. But you could do the prosecuting side of that too.
Your Honor, it was crime of passion. He killed them in crime of passion.
Make sure you in Florida. Make sure you in Florida.
They also used that in Texas too. One of the ADAs who I watched him when he was in trial, he mentioned it, crime of passion. He had a whole like
but they don't charge it as that.
You can't prosecute somebody off for that. Yeah, like that doesn't give you a pass. He did. It could give him a lesser charge. Like instead of it being first degree, it could be second degree, third degree. But you ain't getting dismissed off of crime of passion.
We saw one today that had murder. She had ended up shooting the individual on his chest. I think it's something like the report said that he was like grabbing her and treating her bad, and they had a witness that said that he was beating up on her. Ended up shooting him on the chest. Initial charge was murder. They got it down to a manslaughter second degree.
Why was it self-defense if he was beating her?
Because she still shot the man in the chest.
How many times? How many times did she shoot?
What?
She shot once?
And that's why it was manslaughter, and she only got, I think, 7 years.
No, bro. So what constitutes self-defense? If I'm getting beat every day by somebody and I just happen to shoot you, how is that not self-defense?
Wait, so was he beating her at the time that he was shot?
He was manhandling her, so it's different. It's like, just because I shook you don't mean I hit you.
So basically, he should have beat the bloody pulp out of her. Then she would have had to shoot him, and then it would have been self-defense. I got to have a black eye and a bloody nose. Okay, I see.
But still, even the self-defense here in Texas, it's not something you can actually say it's self-defense. Like, you got to argue that and then be like, it was.
And that's why I used to tell people, like back before like gun laws were so lenient and you had to have a gun license. I used to always tell people, like, just because you have a gun license, it doesn't give you a license to kill.
You
can
have a gun license. You will still go to jail. You will still have to prove your case. But that does not give you, it's not like you can go and say, okay, I'm going to kill this person because I had a license. I'm going to get away.
This is the worst part, though, and I don't mean to laugh at these people because they're dead, but it's like 3 of those reports that we read today said that the person that got shot kept saying, "You got me." Like,
you got me? Like the person they shot said, "You got me?"
Like I'm here and we're arguing, and then I shoot you, and you go, "Oh shit, you got me."
I'm dead.
Like that's the last thing you said? Oh my God.
3 different people.
Wow.
And I guess they didn't believe it. I guess at the time they didn't believe they got shot, but it's like, I mean, you see the gun. Don't hit a woman, she will kill you.
That's crazy. I ain't gonna say you got me. I'm saying call the ambulance. Call the ambulance.
Help!
Like, my words would be like motherfucker or something. Like I wouldn't be
I would probably be like, oh shit. Yeah. Like you got me?
Shit.
Would not be the first. That would not be the last thing I want to say. First of all,
stating the obvious, like she shot me, and it's like that's obvious that she shot you. I don't know. I guess we don't.
I'll be more shocked than anything. I'll be like, oh shit, like
me too. Like, I'd be cussing up a storm.
Child,
trying to stick a finger in my wound and shit.
finger. Like, oh
Stop
shit.
bleeding.
Pressure. Somebody
Like,
apply pressure.
Oh, apply pressure to the wound. I'm leaking.
Let me stop. Now I'm leaking.
I'll be like,
That's what black people say. Oh man, they had you leaking. When they
Yo,
bleed you
that's
and
what
stuff,
they
you
say.
leaking. You get shot, you
Oh,
leaking
that is
for real.
crazy. He said you got me. Like we
you
was playing
got
a game
me.
or something. Like you win. What?
You got
Oh,
got.
tag, you in.
You got
Oh, you got
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Nigga,
you
this
got
ain't
got.
tag.
What is
I
wrong?
don't
I just
know.
don't understand it. I really don't. I think
I
people
don't
go.
either.
I think people sometimes be like, I gotta die and I gotta have clout. Like I gotta be famous. I gotta,
Now I gotta have clout.
cause
Baby,
who
you
says
only
you
gonna
got
have
me?
your 5 minutes of fame on the news, and that's gonna be it.
I don't know.
Unless the
I
person
don't.
that kills you is just that crazy. But you ain't gonna be here to see it anyway.
All right. So we want to thank you for tuning into our podcast. Again, if you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our channel, like, and comment. We love feedback. While you're at it, follow us on all streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora. Whatever platform you listen to, we're likely on it. You can also find us through Instagram and TikTok. Please follow us, go like, comment, whatever you follow us on our stories. Let us know any topics you want us to talk about. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, feel free to email us. Again, thank you and see you next week for your weekly scoop serving. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.